sound. I installed the bot, and apparently I can record the sound with the LoveKravt. But it says LoveKravt is thinking and nothing is happening. So I'll record with QuickTime as well.
Come on.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, hello everybody.
Everybody.
Hello. I should wait until after the meeting to eat something, because usually when I eat, then I come into the meeting with like, oh, I'm so full.
Yeah. I specifically waited. Yeah.
All right. So we have
Everything good?
Yeah, we have a guest today, don't we?
Yeah. Look back. Yeah, we have Omri. Is he already here?
Nope.
No.
By the way, is this LoveKravt is also the May 6, right?
Yeah, so it is Me 6, but I can I have a subscription now, so I can hook it up to a Discord bot called LoveKravt, and I can post on behalf of this Discord bot.
Yes, and the cool thing as well is that, which I like, is that you can put music on him. So you
I can make a music channel as well.
Yeah, and then other people can just, kind of mute him or lower the music, so there's some background music as well.
In the call, you mean?
Yeah, like now, like you could tell it right now to start playing. I don't know how long it takes to set up, but you could tell it right now to play some music, and then people can decide to lower or raise the music, and yeah, it just stays there in the background while we're chatting.
Right.
Yeah, we could have some, like, I don't know, bossa nova tunes to keep the awkward silences from being so notorious.
Exactly.
Nice.
Ah, damn! I cannot record the sound when I'm not in the call. I'm recording on my laptop, but then it shows.
I haven't. I'm recording.
Okay, then I'll stop it. I can activate the music if you want.
No, it's fine. It's good. Let's just do it for now, like this, and then we'll see. So,
listen to music.
How's everyone? We have. I don't have any visuals to show you about this week's stuff that we are working on, but yeah, because
I can.
Yeah.
Well, last week we had Ivano talk about Midjourney.
True.
I don't know about you, but my screen time went up to 6 hours a day for a week. I've just been using the Discord at every single second that I have some free time.
Yeah.
Making weird stuff.
Well, I can show the stuff that I put together during this week. Like I have a way I can share my screen and I show like a little bit of what I have. Let me see. Here we go. And we're going live, and I'll also put it on the YouTube video. Yeah, so if you're checking my stream, I have some notes that I have put in together from Notion on how this thing, like I first so I don't know, for whoever was here last week, for whoever wasn't here last week, we were looking at the Midjourney, this tool that Ivano brought to us, that he was showing us how it works, and it's similar to DALL-E. Maybe you've heard it's an AI that does text to image, and yeah, it's super useful because we're starting to use this as a way of concepting ideas, and it works really well because it's pretty much like hiring someone to take your idea, which you can just throw in some words and whatever you can think of, divided by commas, and or create a sentence, and then this machine would just create something for you. Like for example, here I made a mistake. I realized after doing it that I wrote a blacksmith, but without the C. That works forging weapons in the Matrix. But still, it gave me some interesting, weird poster-looking things, right? Like forging, weapon, blacksmith, blah, blah, blah. So it came out pretty nice. And then I tried another one, describe it even longer. A blacksmith wearing a welding mask working in front of a giant anvil surrounded by metals, weapons, axe, swords, guns, robots in a temple with wide and tall openings and strong light coming from the outside in the Matrix. Blade Runner 2049 glitchy DMT. So I was really excited to see what this thing can come up with, and these are really cool imagery, right? Like if I had to sit down and come up with so many different options and variations, it will take me forever. So yeah, it came out really interesting.
Nice.
For me to consider, I really would like to have more of this concept of a digital blacksmith creating the metaverse. So I wanted to see, what other cool scenarios could create with this. But I don't have to compare. I can show that at the end of the call because I don't have it on this PC. But I also did this exact same thing in DALL-E, so I could compare visually what Midjourney can create compared to DALL-E. And DALL-E, it just blows the whole thing out of the water. This is just like very concepty and kind of blurry, and it's not a lot of detail. While DALL-E came out with like crazy different examples and all types of things. So it was really interesting to see what the AIs can do right now to just give us more and more concepts. I do love this one because it feels like, I don't know, it's something between he's forging a sword and playing a sick DJ set. So pretty happy with this. And then Robert will be showing some more, I guess, from the hearts that he was trying to do, but this is also fantastic. I kind of wanted to make a post about us finally going to finishing the paperwork for making LoveKravt into an actual legal entity. And so I could see that it was understandable, but not completely. I kind of wanted to have a hard signing a document, but that's not what was happening. So you could see a document there, but not really. And then I gave it glasses, and then this came out really nice. A character in the shape of a giant heart with big wide open eyes, writing a document in an office. Big glasses, big brain, DMT, concept art, colorful. I love this one, and this trippy dude here. So I think it came out pretty good, and it's freaking me out as well because this means that a big portion of the creative process, which usually was the part that was like very well paid, it's kind of like gone from us now. This will be the basic tool for everybody in like what I wouldn't even like to say in 5 years from now, because it's already here. Like maybe in like 6 months, it's already like, if you're not using this, you're wasting time. You're wasting your company's money, because whatever little concept being 3D metaverse, virtual space, 3D experience for your, I don't know, alcohol brand bottle thing, or an animation for a new short, or just want to make like the intro for your YouTube channel. Why not just look up something, the concepts that represent you? Just put the words together and something will come up. So this is absolutely fantastic, and we're all going to be out of a job in a couple of years. So
I don't know. I think like what I see where this is going, I think all the nitty-gritty processes that require like code level stuff and actual stuff that is too permanent, like you put something on paper, or even in Photoshop, like it takes a lot of time to create something, but if you want a variation, so the way I see it is everything becomes much more like you're getting clay instead of paint. In clay, you can reform it, and whatever comes out, you can make copies of it and then reform that and mix two together. And I think that will be a job on itself. Like people who are not really necessarily, like I'm not good at painting. I'm not good at coming up with stuff visually, but using this tool, I found like a whole sort of art directive, creative thing that I really have. But by doing this, I really am confronted with how fun I think that is to do. So I can show a little bit of what I did last week.
Yes.
Just a short. I'll skip like randomly. It's too many. I'm a bit ashamed actually, like how many it is. how to share.
I'll stop my stream. You can start.
Right. Where's that button? I don't share too often.
Between the camera and the microphone.
But I'm on mobile. Can I still stream then? No.
You can. I think you can.
But how?
Be able to share your screen, I think.
No, it doesn't say anything.
Whoopsie.
I came in the Discord using my laptop, but it completely messed up the sound. So I'm afraid I cannot show anything. But maybe to get a little bit ahead, like I think what would be really cool if there's so many creative people in here, if we sort of get a bit more interactive and give some people access, whoever likes to join. You get like, if we send an invite, you get I think 200 processes budget, so you can make 200 images.
Yep.
And we can open like a channel where we can submit, and we give like a theme, and people can submit their work. And in the end, we pick like some cool artwork and use it in social media post or like a Twitter banner or something.
Yeah.
Just to get like a trial on how this could work, because I really would love to see like people creating content and then being able to promote that work as well through LoveKravt. I think it's a fun idea.
It's fun, indeed.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll just to close up with my part. I'll go live again. I just want to show that I got the images. That this is DALL-E, okay? This is not Midjourney. I'm just comparing processes of this. What AIs are doing. So this was the exact same prompt with a digital blacksmith that is forging stuff. By the way, apparently Midjourney allows for it to say weapons, guns, DMT, but DALL-E doesn't. So it threw a warning saying you might get banned for using those words again. So you're not allowed to use guns or weapons and DMT.
Right. Yeah.
And all right, so but look at that. I want you to see how much difference there was on all these outputs. Rob, can I mute you because I'm getting a lot of feedback?
Sure. I can share my screen also, by the way.
Okay, let me finish this and then you go. So and I want you to see how different these were, because they're completely even though it was the same sentence, it just started drawing like some extremely random and especially different angles of points of view. Like this is a much darker scene with something closer. It's like camera filming somebody working in the environment, and it's something that I didn't actually put on one of the sentences, was that there was this light that I added afterwards, but then constantly it was just adding this kind of shiny light coming from outside it, from this void kind of looking place. And I love that. It came out really, really cool. Plus, I love it that it's all metals. You cannot know if this feels like a robot kind of thing. So, yeah, it's mind-blowing what this guy is making. I love this kind of thing. This anvil, the fact that it came out with a completely different, random, futuristic, robotic-looking anvil on its own. I love that kind of stuff. And this guy working. So I would love to use this as my inspiration to then make it into a 3D space. And I don't have to do a lot of concepting on how the feel of the place is going to be. I just have to start 3D modeling, getting the assets, put it together, and then, I don't know, put it in Unreal or whatever I'm going to use this in. And then this one, the only thing I changed was to say rendered in Octane. So the previous one was more like concept art, and this was more like try to make it look like a render, like it came out of a 3D software. And I love this. He gave it this weird ass helmet. He's definitely working on pouring some hot metal thing. I love it. And it's inside of this kind of, like a junkyard of futuristic tech. So I'm mind blown. I've actually felt like this thing opened my brain to a other world that I didn't know existed, and it doesn't exist until I create it. But it's fascinating, to say the least. All right, Rob, you can go.
Cool stuff, man. So I'm starting broadcast.
Yes.
Okay. I go to my pictures. So this was like a bit of the first thing I tried for the VR future. We had this concept of a Dyson sphere, like a planet.
Can you flip your phone, maybe?
Does this help?
There we go. That's much
Okay.
better.
So this is like a 3D render, something floating in space, a lot of mist, sort of alien-looking thing, and came out all right. I sent this to the 3D concept artist of the project, and he was like, "Fuck, like you don't even need to do these kinds of concept thing," because he was making images like this, and I just make this in 2 seconds, maybe in 1 minute. So you see here all dark Titan alien metal moon covered with tubes, Dyson sphere, blah blah blah. How do I get out? What's going on? This was an album cover, Alpha Whale. So let's see. This was an experiment. Right before going to sleep. Don't do it. These were 2 lesbian vampires covered in cheese. I thought it was hilarious. This is my dad. He sent me a picture of him and a dog on a couch, so he tried to recreate the picture. There's definitely some sort of dog going on there. Dead dog, perhaps.
How did you use a photo, by the way?
Wait, just say photo off. So this is funny. I said photo off. Let's see if I can see the command. It gives you variations, right? Like he's trying to do it. So the photo of a guy on a couch, a red couch with a specific type of dog and a gray beard and gray hair, and he's happy. But then you get like a sort of a dog that's also the couch, or my dad that is the dog, or but you then just pick one that you think is the best, and then make variations from that, and then you can continue and add new commands. So then I tried, maybe a vintage Polaroid of my dad with the dog. Okay. Maybe a robotic dog with my robotic dad. And you can just make variations of that. Then let's see what's cool. This was...
Who's that?
Who's that?
Wait, let me mute. There we go.
Who was that? Welcome.
Kravters.
We have a very young community. This is the smartest man in the universe. This came out. This is the dumbest man in the universe. This came out.
Are you serious?
That's insane. The fact that it came out so much looking like Trump. There must be some influence there, and
there's definitely like I think the algorithm works by getting pictures that had a classification. So you have like dumb president, dumb shit, this, blah blah blah. So it makes this classification. What else is funny? I tried cake people. This one style I really like. It's called overly expressive shrimp hero on acid. And I tried to make more of these because they came out really cool. So you get stuff like this. These guys. And this style I really like. And I tried to do overly expressive Italian hero on acid. And there was also an overly expressive Moroccan hero with a cape coming from his ears, apparently. The birds, another bird.
Oh my god.
And then I tried rats. Like, this is cool. This is actually a rat being attacked by a mutant rat. Some mutant rats, bunnies with special powers. Like, these could all be legit paintings. This was a result for Midjourney. This is overly, what's his name?
Overly attached girlfriend.
Overly attached girlfriend on acid. don't know if you know what I mean. But even for like game assets, right? So I'm making a lot of games. I'm working with Max. I don't know if she's here. But I try to see if I can make some planets in watercolor on a plain background so they could be easily sort of cut out. And you get unlimited variations of something like this. So even for other assets like rocket ships, you get a lot of inspiration. This is me overly expressive on acid. What else is fun too? But like this is, you can name a specific. This is like the artist illustrator of Akira. So you get something in the style of that artist. This was funny. There was like one Italian guy, one guy with afro, synthwave band, something with VR glasses, and then you get all these variations. This is something else. I think I mixed Alice Gray with H.R. Geiger and then added like depth of field and volumetric light and all that stuff. And get like these crazy images. I think this is what aliens actually look like. This is me looking at my phone for 6 hours a day. But yeah, I can go on forever. But I think the coolest thing is that I really try to get different styles. I tried this, for example, this guy to render it in sort of realistic, a toy kind of thing. A friend of me asked me to make a portrait of him as Mona Lisa. I don't know if I have them all here. Oh yeah, another friend of me, she's a tattoo artist. So I tried some tattoo designs. Like I was thinking about super cliche yin yang dragon tiger, but then see what the variations would do. So you get like all these different ideas. And I showed it to her, and she was like, "Wow, this is so easy to use in tattoo designs." So I think in a lot of fields we'll get the benefits and have like tools like this to present to clients and then work out some design that they actually like without having the need to make 100 variations.
Oh, I love that concept art of with cloudy. That's like that painting,
Yeah.
The Wanderer over the clouds.
Yeah, there's a Wanderer. What's his name? Can I see it?
Frederick, I think is the painter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my cousin, this actually funny story. It's his birthday, 10th of June, and his friend always calls him Lord for some reason. And so we thought it's funny to actually buy him a piece of land in Scotland, like very small piece of land, of course. And then you get a certificate of ownership, and then you are legally allowed to call yourself a lord. And with that, I wanted to recreate one of his favorite paintings. That was actually the painting of the guy watching over the clouds. So instead of clouds, I said like Wanderer over the Scottish Highlands, painted by the same guy. And then you can get all these really cool, beautiful paintings. This is me in 3D. This is me in 3D as Nosferatu. Getting more abstract.
Insane.
Being a toy. Like whatever. This is my friend as Mona Lisa. He actually looks like Seth Rogen. Don't tell him, but I looked for a Seth Rogen wearing sunglasses. And then it came out exactly the way he looks. This is him, by the way.
Perfect.
So yeah, this is funny. I asked like this photo, but then painted as Mona Lisa, and he actually generated a cutout of a painting with his head sticking through. I thought it was funny. Anyway, I can go on forever, but impressive tool. I think everybody should get access if they want, and we can do some thematic exploration and get some art going. I think that's a really fun idea.
Absolutely.
Yes, please.
This one, maybe I close with this one because this is funny. Somebody was because you see like the feed of everybody else in their keywords, and somebody was doing something with armed forces and hooligans, and another guy was making piñata. So I thought armed forces arresting like piñata people, and then it made this whole series illustrated as a children's book. And you see them like, here's actually somebody converted, a little piñata guy in the back. You get all these dynamic scenes, and they're all aesthetically pretty cool. And you have all these crazy concepts, people attacking, and the piñata guys also wearing armor. And you just pick one that you think, okay, this is the most direction I want, and then you create variations from that and variations from that until you get something, you scale it up, you make another variation. And this is actually pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
So this is what you've been working on for the last 2 years?
This is what I did in 4 days.
But like it feels like you can sell this as a resume, you know.
And this is a small selection of what I did. You won't believe the amount of pictures I generated in the last 6 days. This is just the ones I saved. If you go to midjourney.com, then you log in and you get your whole feed of everything you produced.
Oh, really? I don't know. Yeah. Because it gets really messy after a while that you're posting in their Discord channels, so it's kind of impossible to find everything back again.
Well, let me see real quick. Do I have it? No, I already closed it. Okay, well, that was it then.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Rob.
No problem.
Interesting. Very, very cool.
Amazing.
Okay, moving on to the next thing. Omri.
Yeah, we have Omri, and we asked him. We know him through Sarah. We've met a couple weeks ago, and we were like, yeah, we want a little bit more. Like last week, we had Ivano. Maybe this week we have Omri. Maybe next week somebody else wants to show their work. And I think it's really nice and inspirational. So maybe we can just pass the mic to Omri, and he'll do the talking.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Hello.
First of all, good luck with my accent to everyone. I hope you're going to make it. My accent is not very clear, but I think you will understand. Last week was crazy. Last week was very interesting. The AI thing, I found it last night. Sarah sent me the invite last night, and I've been playing until 3 a.m. yesterday.
Nice.
Yeah, a couple of more hours today. I got very different results from you guys, which is only making sense. But I think kind of roughly saying the difference between DALL-E, what I've seen now, and this Midjourney is composition mostly. Because I feel Midjourney is doing very centered, kind of almost like a circle in the middle of a square kind of composition. And it was very hard to generate depth in it. So I think that was one limitation, because DALL-E seemed to really create spaces that kind of reflect and the light makes sense, and like more things were happening. And Midjourney, super fun, but I really had struggled to make something not flat with it. So that's one thing I noticed so far.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. Yeah.
Interesting.
For the rest, I will introduce myself a bit. Maybe I will share my screen, because how do I do it? Screen share. I guess. Is my screen shared?
It's loading.
I'm connecting now.
Cool. I hope my internet is good enough.
It should be sort of immediate. Can you try again? And maybe you chose a window. Try choosing.
No, sorry, I did something wrong. Yeah, it's two. Let me do this. That should do it. Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect. Another funny thing. So I've been trying in the last 2 days to think what I want to show. And I think fortunately and unfortunately, my brain works a bit like this AI algorithm, because I'm just doing way too much. It's all kind of random and changing all the time. But I will take you through the time tunnel of the last 5 years, let's say, very quickly. It's not going to take 5 years to tell the story. So I come classically from the background of photography, mostly fashion and news photography. So I'm just showing a bit. This is all from Amsterdam. Photography. There is some news photography as well. So this was mostly for newspapers. Was pretty fun, pretty interesting, but at some point I decided stills photography is not enough for me in a way. It was limiting because I like movement more than freezing moments of time. And that is when I moved to Amsterdam, started to study art, and everything changed, basically. Let's see. So I think my main mission in my work is to take photography and kind of question what can photography be besides photography. Because I find as a photographer and as an artist, I found that the use of like a camera as the main tool and then a printer as the second main tool and then say this is it. To me, it felt a bit limiting because as a person who really likes technology, I thought the camera is just a machine. It might be a magical machine, but it's a machine. And so is a printer. So I started thinking, why aren't photographers doing more with these tools? Like, why stop there? So I started basically with the 3D scanning. I'm going to show some collection of some stuff. This is from 2016, so quite a while back. It's one of my first 3D scannings. And basically, this was a very symbolic bridge in my hometown in Tel Aviv. And the bridge was being demolished. So they drill in the bridge and put some TNT in it to explode it. And what you see now is the guy that actually put the TNT in the wall, basically. I was passing in the street. I saw the guy. I was like, can I 3D scan you? And the guy was like, what? And I said, I'm just going to make pictures. Just don't move. And the guy was like, yeah, sure. I will scroll through a bit. So this is the machine he's using. And you can kind of, it's not a good scan, but that's maybe the nice part of it as well. So this is the explosive actually being put in the wall. This is some kind of weird machine. That's the guy right here standing on a ladder. And I kind of consider this to be photography. It's a moving photography, but for me it's a photography just as well.
Sorry to interrupt. You use photogrammetry for making this, right? There wasn't...
Yeah, and I think I used back then a Metashape, and now I use reality capture. I think a nice kind of general tip along this whole, what I'm going to show you is that every software I used, the ones I use legally, I got them for free by just sending an email to the people who make it and say, hey, can I use your software, basically. And I got a yes very often. So surprisingly, I think we kind of as a professionals, as creatives, we don't tend to do it, but sometimes when you feel like you might want to use a software, but you're not going to use it commercially in the sense of like, I'm going to now make really a business out of it, but I want to explore it rather. I got pretty good feedback from nearly every software I ever asked for. Like I always got a yes. So that's just a small tip. It's good to try. Because this one back then was, I think, 600 euros or something. I was a student back then, so it was not an option to buy it. They just sent me over the mail a serial number, which works until today. So, that's cool. Okay. So I will scroll through a bit some old stuff. I used to do music videos. So basically, I switched from photography to 3D at some point. This is a music video for a band from Israel. And I basically tried to recreate the house of my grandma. I wanted to create some nostalgic feeling in this video clip. So this is the exact cover that my grandma used to have with a kind of old TV and all the, things kind of spread around. And it starts kind of boring and it goes a bit, kind of slow. And then craziness happens. as it does very often with my works. So there was that. I was busy with a lot of times putting 3D in real life in a way, which is for me very fascinating. So that's some other snippets. This was my first 360 video clip. So I wanted to explore, what does 360 mean and how does it work? This was done with a Blender, and I have to say the 360 workflow with Blender is very easy. So that was a nice, very nice experience. So you can create universes quite easy, quite quick. So that was some other old stuff. And I think what I wanted to talk a bit about today is my journey with, let's say, drawing machines or drawing robots, because this was more or less of fascination that I had for 2 or 3 years. And I had this face machine, or like a CNC machine. So it's a machine that's meant to cut pieces of wood, more or less, with a computer control. And I just put a pen on it one day and I was like, oh wow, I can make some very ugly, very basic graphics. And since this was really the start, and since I made this one, I started to think, okay, how far actually can I take this? And if a machine uses a pen to make a drawing, is it a drawing or is it a print? That was kind of my question. Am I printing something or am I drawing something? Because it is pen and it is paper. So the journey started here and escalated very quickly. So this is a couple of months later. So this is basically like a 2 meter, 1 meter 20 drawing of pen on paper. And my main 2 fascinations throughout this whole project of 2 years was, first of all, I was researching 3D humans. So basically non-existing people. I was trying to generate them with any tool I could find, like a human maker, and there is now, of course, the new Unreal one. I don't remember the name of it. But there is a lot of tools. Yeah, exactly. And there is a lot of tools now to basically generate humans. And I found the idea very interesting because this is people that don't exist and will never exist. They are normally born old and without many features, but I try to sometimes keep it this way and see if I can get them to look different, basically. So I will jump a bit into my Instagram. I will scroll very quick because here I have the most collection. So when I just got my machine, I started very basic. I could only do this kind of stuff because the big challenge is that actually you work with vectors. So that was a very interesting challenge because you want to give the machine kind of an XYZ information that is not going to look like this, because that's very easy to make. You just make a 3D render and you say follow the lines. So it feels cool, but it's very basic. And my challenge was basically to think, okay, how can I, because I was creating these kind of images in Blender back then, and I thought, how can I get the machine to draw something that feels a bit more like that, or a bit more handmade? I don't know any programming myself, but I started contacting quite a few programmers from Spain, Russia, wherever I could find. And also there I found a lot of excitement and a lot of collaborations came by. And people were very happy to basically share their knowledge and build the tools together and kind of, just dive in these adventures. So until here, I was doing everything myself. And at some point, I would like to show this software. I met a programmer called Dmitry Apanovich, which made a stroke maker. This is the software, which should open. Yeah, and that's a very interesting tool. Basically what it does, I can go to my own AI folder. So that's all the images I was creating last night. And I can Let me see. Yeah, I think just for the example, I can use this one. So what this tool is doing is basically like a cross etching. Like basically, when you have notes of money, you have this like specific way of making the drawings of them. So this kind of resembles the process of taking an image and making a vector out of it. So it's kind of important for the process because it basically does this. So very simple, and then you get a vector like this, which you can still manipulate very easily, and export later as SVG or whatever, Illustrator file. And the interesting thing was that, is there a question or?
No, I'm just...
Okay.
No.
Cool. So basically, he had this tool, which was very fun, but I thought, it's nice, but I still don't feel like it looks handmade or anything. It still feels very, computery. And then basically we developed together. So I kind of instructed him what I want. And he started writing this new algorithm, which now is in the main software. It didn't exist back then. So that's like a child of me and him, this strange algorithm, and it's quite a fun one. So it's like a lot of hairs kind of following each other. And you can choose how much information you want to put in it. You can make it more and more detailed.
Are these vector lines?
Yeah.
Do you keep the lines, the dots, or it's just outputting the
everything? So that's the interesting part. So we had two challenges. So actually, the collaboration we had, which for me was just to have fun and do my artwork, and for him, that's the kind of stuff the software creates if you spend enough time on it. So this is my machine, and basically what the software does, it exports the lines, So just like shapes, let's say. This is all shapes. But what I developed with him, we developed a zigzag. So instead of one full shape, it does a zigzag of the shape. And that's how I was able to create these drawings, basically. Because the pen, of course, cannot fill these lines by itself. So basically it exports a vector, and you choose if you want it as a single line or as a thick line or whatever. It's very interesting. There is a lot of
wow.
A lot of things you can play with in this software. And
will it be possible? I was asking about the lines because I was thinking maybe if it's possible to export those lines as curves in Blender and then give each line its own thickness, and then make a
absolutely
3D sculpture.
Actually, it's quite a good idea, actually.
Nice.
So you can whatever you make, you have just an export setting, and I didn't put my code here yet, but you can just do an Illustrator or an SVG and play with the lines separately. It can get quite heavy. Depends how much detail you put. But it's a very nice software, and the guy is super nice, open-minded, and of course for this as well, it was very easy to get a serial number and just work together on stuff. So you have a lot of stuff here. It hurts the eyes a bit when you use it for too long. But it was a nice journey of kind of finding an existing software and kind of changing the software into my direction together with the maker of the software. And that's what helped me to go from this kind of very basic stuff to this kind of stuff. So things start to get much more complicated and rich as far as drawing is concerned. So I had this is also interesting. This is a single line, so the pen never leaves the paper, it just keeps moving. And the more it goes in one place, the more contrast that becomes.
I would love to see a time lapse of that.
I have quite a few here. Maybe this one. In some I also uploaded a video. This is a bit too jumpy. So here it was an exhibition. I was making a 3 meter just by many A3 papers. So I made a whole piece live during the show. The machine was going very, very fast. Different pens, of course, like this kind of fountain pen or whatever it's called. It was a very interesting journey. I went from abstract to a bit more realistic to even a very interesting one at some point. Yeah, so this is the algorithm we developed, this kind of hairy thing. But let me see. Yeah, so somewhere here. Is that? Yeah, this one. So this is also with a machine, but it's a CMYK. So I just use 4 different pens to get the full color. So basically it's a printing technique. It took, I think, 42 hours or something. So it took extremely long to make one image. But yeah, there is some pleasure to it by the slowness. It's like it was like what 3D rendering used to be, you know? A couple of years back when you wanted one image and you had to sit and wait and kind of get your image slowly and see the image building with all the minor mistakes in it. Yeah, so I did quite a lot of these machine drawings, sometimes using only the algorithm. So this is just an Illustrator file. I found it quite interesting because it started to go in this almost AI direction, like things didn't really make sense anymore in the result, and that was good. So there was mistakes, but kind of good mistakes. Because the input image of this was just like normal 3 faces next to each other. But as you can see, the output is completely weird. I as well tried using just brush and paint with the machine, which was also kind of interesting. Did some fashion collaboration, so I used my machine on a piece of fabric for a fashion designer to basically create different garments. That was actually in some fashion show in Amsterdam. So basically it was a way to see how can we print without using a printer. Later on I went to a more serious machine, which started to be a bit too much like a printer in my taste. So it was much bigger, much faster, but yeah, it lost a bit of the charm, I think. As well, the algorithm also of this guy, I developed with him to make the software do animations, which was very interesting. So you can input an image sequence and get out another image sequence, but with this algorithm on it. So that was kind of interesting. It's very, for me, it will be very hard for me to make something like this otherwise, I think. It's a very specific effect going on here. So I think here I can start to see the potential of like algorithm image making. Yeah, for the rest, I think there is a lot of different drawings, but there is no need to show all of them, of course. And after a couple of years of doing that, I went into 3D, a bit more serious. And with 3D, I think my eternal passion is, again, to put it back into photography or into video. So basically, take a video with your phone and put something in it that looks like it belongs there. So this kind of stuff for me is very interesting. It's all experiments without any purpose. I don't know why the camera is attacking the TV or anything, but that's just stuff that happens when I'm just trying out. So it's anywhere between 3D scanning, video manipulation, 3D implementation within video. I think that's my main interest. And this is all for pleasure, so not for any commercial purpose. A few of these, like this one, some things did end up in exhibitions or in different ways that made sense and was profitable, but normally it's stuff I just do and maybe they find purpose later. So when I do them, it's purely out of curiosity. Like this UFO in the Amsterdam forest, which I just had to make. Yeah, and here I think this was another kind of direction I took, which I tried to look at photography as more of like a quantum universe. So I tried to break pictures or places into pixels and give each pixel color, but keep them as cubes, and basically recreate spaces, but with tiny cubes. And the results were pretty interesting. That's my studio in Amsterdam North. So I don't want to call it Minecraft because I think it looks very different, but
it reminds me of those point clouds they use.
It's exactly a point cloud, and actually it's a nice tool to also show. It used to be for free, maybe it's still for free. So this is all done using Blender. And there is something very, for me, interesting in seeing the world in that way. It's like seeing a point cloud that also carries some weight, let's say, and can take light and shadows and stuff like this. So a very nice tool is Blender Point Cloud. So basically it's an add-on for Blender. Yeah, this one, Point Cloud Visualizer. Commercials. Which, if for anyone it's interesting, you should really check it out. If it costs money, I have still the free version, so I can pass it around. But it allows you to very easily work with the point clouds within Blender. And not only that, you can also manipulate them, turn them into objects, so you can do quite a lot with point clouds in Blender. So that's quite a nice tool. I think that's what I used for most of my experiments.
It's a PLI format is what you get when you create something in reality capture?
Yeah, as well. So you have XYZ and PLY. Those are the point clouds, so they don't carry any polygons. It's just like the points. And normally 3D softwares don't really like to open these files, but that's why there is the Blender extension. There is as well an Unreal Engine extension that can open these files. So pretty interesting stuff. The benefit is, since there is no polygons, you can really have much more information. So you can reach like the millions or billions of points, and your computer will still manage. So pretty interesting stuff. Another tool which is very interesting is Lumion. I don't know if anyone knows it.
Yeah.
So if you want to quickly sketch 3D, I try to recreate Amsterdam in a way, or at least the part I live in Amsterdam North. So it's not even photo scanning, it's just like a photo projection on very basic models and this was rendered in, I think, 20 minutes or something, the whole video. So Lumion is a very nice tool if you want to quickly sketch 3D, but it's more for architecture, so you can do very wild stuff in there. But you can wave a flag of Fable if you want, or there's still some fun stuff to do. So also quite an interesting tool. That's as well done in Lumion. That's me floating over the ocean. I explored this tool for a bit, but I didn't find enough freedom in it, in a way, as far as doing animations or stuff like this. So that's the rework of the same thing, just in Blender. So I made it myself. So I think that's the kind of stuff I do as exploring. That's why I said I feel like the AI, because I'm showing you now stuff and it's all not connected to each other at all. It's all super random, but it somehow makes sense in the end, I think, because this was also very interesting. I don't know if anybody knows Synth Eyes.
Yeah,
this is results made this software.
This is really cool.
Yeah, you basically feed a video, any video, and then you feed one frame of the video painted. You can paint it yourself or use some algorithm to paint.
What is it called?
Synth Eyes.
Remember that project, Lucas, that we tried to bring you in back in 5 years ago or something with Capritola? Something about the Van Gogh painting?
No, it's not.
Yes.
And there was like no tool for that. So the idea was to create a 3D scene and then project paintings on it. And this is actually like just painting a 3D scene in itself.
If it's the same tool, it's the one I use for the music video clip that I did for Tripping Jaguar. The one I use is called EB Synth.
EBSynth, yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I really like this tool. It's I had maybe a bit like with AI, like it came into my life and I was obsessed for 2.5 weeks. I couldn't stop using this tool. It's very powerful because this one has actually no intelligence in it. It's not artificial. It's so I mean, it's not using any fancy artificial intelligence algorithms, but it's just a very clever way of blending frames without losing the position of colors. So they also advertise it as a bit of an old school. It breaks in many points, like you lose the effect, but it's very strong for many things because it doesn't look too much like a stupid Photoshop filter, you know? It actually looks like something that somebody made. So another nice tool. I was busy for quite a while with projection mapping. I was using Lightform, if anyone knows it. So this is projection mapping I did in NDSM during lockdown. I was just taking my beamer outside and projecting in all kind of places. And Lightform is also very interesting because it lets you map places in real time. So it's basically a small camera and a computer you put on your beamer, and within a minute you get kind of a perfect representation of the real space. So this whole projection mapping project was done within 15 minutes or so. From
Nice.
Scanning to design to, it's a lot of very clever filters and stuff like this that you can apply. You can mask out different areas, and it's very nice. It's like a kind of and it reacts to sound, which is also cool. So if you use it in a party or whatever, the visuals will dance by the music, which is pretty fun. Yeah, so that was another direction. I don't do this stuff too much. Let me see. I have just a couple more things to show. So
varied portfolio, I say.
Yeah, I keep moving somehow. I went into ceramics as well. I do ceramics at the moment, but that's more therapy, you know, like to not be on the computer. So I have a ceramic studio as well. But this type of stuff is really my interest. This seeing the world broken and rebuilt in a way. And I think very quickly I want to talk about what I do for a job because actually I'm looking for people as well that might help, hopefully. So I work in a virtual production studio in Amstelveen, close to Amsterdam. Basically, we have a green screen studio, and we have a very fancy tracking system, real time. And the specialty of the system is that the tracking markers are not on the wall, but they're on the ceiling. So basically, you can film clean, just like this. The camera is moving in real life, and everything follows. So basically, you're able to film on a green screen, not on a tripod. So you can just move your camera freely, and you get a real-time preview from Unreal Engine of where is the person in the scene and how is your scene looking like and stuff like this. Basically, like the Mandalorian. It's the same vibe, not the same quality, unfortunately. So basically, they use the LED screens. Yeah, so that's how they film the Mandalorian. It's the opposite of what we do. It's the same system. So you can move your camera and background interactively move, the opposite. They use LED screens, we use green screen. But it's a very exciting kind of progress in green screen filming because you can get your people to really be in the space somehow. And the camera can move very freely. And I think that's the more commercial side of things, which I'm busy with at the moment. And there is quite a big need in this line of work for like 3D designers. So people who can actually make these kind of spaces, but nicer or a bit more interesting.
And then you're working with Unreal Engine, right?
Yeah, so Unreal at the moment, we use it only for preview. So you can see in real time, this is in Blender, this is as well as in Blender. So you see even it reflects on the table and it reflects on the stove if you look very well. So you get full like shadows, reflections. This is all in Blender, so that's afterwards. In real time, we use Unreal, but we didn't reach in Unreal a level that we are like satisfied with. as far as like an end product, we use Unreal only if it's let's say like a kind of talk show kind of things. This kind of like TV. There is a very famous Unreal Engine for TV sets or studio or whatever. This kind of stuff, or this. So if you want to make something, this can be live, start to finish. You film it, you immediately see it like this on the screen, and you finished your project. No keying, no nothing. So that's kind of nice, but I'm trying to stay a bit away from this stuff, like this kind of aesthetics and stuff, because I don't think it's very exciting. But on the other side of things, there is a lot of interest in this system since December, and basically, it's starting to become a small production house almost, made only of freelancers. So I'm kind of actually desperately looking sometimes for people to fill up, people who are familiar with Blender and just can do these kind of things, which is, I think, very basic. It's nothing too fancy. And the cool thing, so I have this scene open. Basically, you get your green screen footage, so your person in your scene, and also your person is connected to the camera. So basically, whatever I filmed in real life, I'm getting an FBX camera. You see, this is all the keyframes. Let me go in the camera. So I'm getting an FBX camera that has exactly the right movements as it was in real life. So that's pretty cool. Let me see. And the other...
So do you have to do a lot of compositing afterwards? Or
well, surprisingly less, because this one, for example, there is no compositing at all. Because since you can have the plane of the person in your 3D scene, so the shadows and everything is being cast by the footage itself. So the person can reflect and do the shadows just by being in the 3D space. And since the FBX matches exactly the camera movement of the real footage, it's just locked to the flow. There is some limitation. Sometimes the fit goes too much in the flow or whatever. But this one, because of these shadows and the fact that the space is also reflecting light back at the person, it kind of works actually without almost any. Same as here, there is nearly any post-production. No color correction, no nothing. It's just the footage in the 3D space, basically.
So this video is like filmed real time.
No, so the in real time we didn't have this kind of quality. So the good thing of real time is that you see where your objects are exactly, because this is quite a tight scene, So you can film your person and you see on the camera, even not only on the monitor. You can see basically the cameraman can see a view of the person in a space. My Unreal skills are not very good, so I keep it normally basic, and I say this is really a preview for understanding what you're filming. Which can be very handy, because if he has to interact with his painting or with anything in the house or know where it's safe to go, and for example,
what would be like the next step to such a studio? Like, what is new technology that could enhance this? Are you familiar with roadmaps?
Yeah, there is a big. First of all, the system we are using is called Moses Star Trek, which cost, I think, I think it costs like 40K or something. So the price range of these machines is insane. This is basically the system. It's a camera you put on your camera. This one, so it's a camera on a camera and a computer. So one thing is like the Vive trackers. That's one big. Kind of a change in the field, because these ones are cheap,
right? Yeah,
much cheaper, and you can use them as well to do the same thing. Not in the same quality yet, but it's getting there. So people are starting to make it more like DIY or more indie, or I don't know how to call it, but more approachable, accessible. And the other thing is Sorry?
It's very jittery, I heard, like to use.
No, so the Vive, yes. I think the biggest problem with the systems, and that's why the system we have costs so much. Which another funny story, like this system was not paid for, so we got the system for free as well. From a company in London, we got it for testing, and they were like, "You guys are cool, just keep it."
Yes.
Can you explain a bit more how it gets the perspective correct? Because I just...
Yeah, so I think so. The difference, I think, what's the difference between this system and the Vive is that normally it's in the fit. I always say so. If the fit looks good on the floor, it means your system is good. If you film this with a Vive, then the person will be sliding all over the place. It doesn't feel connected, and I think that's like the point when you know this whole thing is fake. If the feet are not like feeling kind of nailed in the ground.
And the specific lens. I mean, you're filming with something that has a specific field of view and type of lens, and that you can like build that as well in like digitally for the virtual camera.
Yeah, so that's the crazy thing. Every lens you use, you can calibrate it for a couple €100. So they sign in, they log in from London, and they really do all this crazy matrix stuff.
Right.
So you get lens distortion, you can change your zoom, so you can zoom while filming, you can change your focus, and it's all interactive. So if you change the focus in real time, in real life, it changes in Unreal as well. So you can focus on an object or on your person. Or it's quite sophisticated. So I mean, it's quite something. It opens a lot of creative opportunities. But it's a quite exciting moment because I think we are starting to get noticed, or not we, just the technology in general is starting to get noticed now by directors. So Media Monks, for example, are kind of all over the place now, and some other big companies are kind of keep approaching us, and we have the tools, we have the knowledge, but we don't have the hands at the moment to make stuff a bit more exciting, So all you see now is demos I did for free, not for any money. I just did them, and through these demos we got some clients. But the technology is very fun. My own idea for this technology is to actually use it for more exciting stuff, or more exciting stuff for me. I want to use it for fashion, basically. So I want to do this kind of social media content and have here like a model or a 3D shoe or whatever. I don't know, something here. I want to kind of mix filming with a bit more funky places, let's say, so a bit less...
Nice.
Let me see. I will just scroll through. So this is all kind of spaces I built for this purpose. It's all done in Blender. This is with, what's the name? This Quixel Megascans. Very nice tool. The Megascans, it's free for Blender as well. So that's a great thing if you need some... Yeah, so this is all scenes basically that I would later like to use with this virtual production. Same as this, some crazy space stuff.
Stuff, Henry. I just wanted to mention we're past the 1 hour mark, so
okay.
I was wondering, like, no, I don't want to cut you off. That's good. I don't know, but usually we make it about 1 hour. But I just was wondering if anybody had a question for you, if someone wants to add a comment or something.
We're all amazed.
It is amazing. You mentioned something called Lumiere?
Lumion.
How that's spelled?
Lumion. This one is not free, unfortunately, but you can find it very easily. It's like a kind of real-time render engine, so you can very easily make these kind of images without knowing 3D that well. So it's kind of like a shortcut for architects, basically. It's a nice tool for sketching stuff.
Nice. Yeah, incredible stuff. Thank you. And I wonder if there is something like DALL-E for video yet.
Not that I know. I'm definitely not the expert. Maybe somebody else knows better.
DALL-E for video. The thing is that already processing one image is a very complicated thing, but I bet they're making that. Animation is another thing that is being developed in AI for characters, but nothing that I can think of that you just write, I don't know, kid walking in a park with a white dog, and then
Well, we will get there, but we've seen this with the same thing like a couple of years ago when we first got these style transfers, and then people started to experiment transferring styles frame by frame.
Yeah.
And then you see like, well, every time you render a frame, it does something completely random. So you get a lot of glitches, but then you get software that figures out and interpolates between them, and they start to look really nice. But I think like right now it's all a matter of render power, and because even with Mid-Journey, I mean, I can imagine only the computers they're using to render about, I think they have 20k users by now, to handle all these requests. And I think it's only 3 years ago when one frame took me about, if I wanted in this high resolution, it took me about 1 hour to render. And now it just gives me 4 options within a minute, or faster even. So it's amazing how this thing is developing. So yeah, like I still hold by within 2 years you can just come up with a video and it will render it for you. But we at least need some new form of distributed computing power.
Yep.
To be able to handle it for everybody. Yeah, Web3. I think like stuff like render token. I'm really interested in. Yeah, you know, they have the render blockchain doing all these Octane renderer calls. And,
oh yeah, that works very well. I heard from people actually using it. Like
so you can actually get paid by providing your hardware for this network in render token, handling parts of people's jobs, requests. Yeah.
And one other thing I wanted to add is that I know I've seen that Adobe is working on adding AI tools. I can't remember the name of the app that they're using in beta, but they have some very trippy stuff where you can just, you know, like select a car going in a road, and then you do the same as in Photoshop, where you just select around the car, and then if you just click on remove, and then you will just get the plain road without the car in it. So and that was really trippy to see. If I find the video, I'm gonna post it. But I know that they're working in this kind of tools as well.
Yeah, I've seen it almost a year ago. I've seen this video already. Of like this automatic removal of people, objects, and it looks unreal. It looks like too good to be true.
Exactly.
But I have to say, just a very short thing about Adobe, because I found nearly 10 years ago, I found a scientist that was developing some kind of algorithm. He wrote a research paper of implementing 3D objects within imagery or within video, and automatically getting the right reflection, color, lighting, whatever. Really cool stuff. Like, it was too realistic to be true, and this was 10 years ago. And I found the guy somehow online. We were contacting for a while. It's a French guy. And he stopped answering my emails after some time, and then he came back to me after 2 months, and he said Adobe was buying him out, so they bought his research basically.
Right.
And this was 10 years ago, and I haven't seen this being implemented in 10 years. So I don't know what they're doing, but
they're sitting on the patent, I think.
Yeah, man, no, but this was really incredible. And after 10 years, I feel like something should have happened, but I don't know. So that's just a small story about Adobe that I somehow got intertwined in. But yeah, they still have very cool tools, though.
I think they're just putting a price in it for the next 3-4 years, because they're tools that you think they come out of in Adobe. And sorry, this is my pissed off opinion. My After Effects has been crashing all day. But they just release tools every 6 months. Like, okay, now you get this one little thingy extra. And then they wait another 6 months. Like, well, now we can throw this other little thingy. And yeah, because they have no competition, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Feeding us with the baby spoons.
Yes. Wow. Guys, well, I really appreciate the time. Well, 1 hour 15. It's been awesome. I don't know if anybody has something more to add. Remember that we are open to look, just like we invited Henri this week and we invited Ivano last week to talk about your work and anything. Everyone is invited and welcome to do it. If you want to prepare some presentation or something, we can talk about it. Just DM me or Robert, and yeah, we can chat about having you on stage and see what you're making, because I know that everybody here has really cool background with creative stuff. So, and we're all interested to see what everyone is making. So
great, man. Great talk.
Yeah, I think Namoon is also on the call, that she might be willing to show us about her work. Correct?
Who did you mention? I didn't hear.
Namoon, a friend of mine, she's also in the call. I thought she would like to present something about her work.
All right.
For next.
We can arrange it for next week. That'll be great.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's been super cool and interesting. It's such a diverse portfolio. It's very impressive. Like, I think what I found the most impressive thing is that you just start with something and then keep experimenting with it until it reaches like an actual level where you're actually showing it to people, and then moving on to the next thing and do the same thing, all while you're also doing this work as a 3D artist at this company. It's pretty impressive.
True that.
Thanks everyone for listening, by the way.
That was awesome.
I'll share some details after the call about the tools you used. Maybe I'll text to get some more information. And I think it's interesting for people to get some links and just a quick summary of what we've been talking about. So that's pretty amazing stuff. If anybody wants to get access... Sorry?
One last thing. I would love to give some jobs to people from the community. So if later you can tell me if I can drop it somewhere, or I have some very specific, not even that complicated stuff that maybe some people would be interested to jump in. So
we have a channel for this. It's called Jobs. Okay. So you can. It's not very active, but that works in your benefit, I think.
I will activate it. Cool.
Yeah, you can drop something in there.
Nice.
Perfect.
And
so last thing.
Well, one last thing before the last thing is that I'll be editing this in a video and then put it on our YouTube channel. Don't forget, you can watch this later on.
Unless you want you, then let us know.
Yep.
It's good.
I already talked with Lucas. He's gonna cut my voice out of this whole conversation.
Yeah.
Anyway, anybody who likes to experiment with Midjourney, give it a try. Let us know in the general chat, and we'll invite you. And I'm pretty excited to maybe start like a challenge. So let's discuss this further in the general chat and make some cool stuff this week.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Great, guys. Thank you so much.
Cool.
You come
Ciao, guys.
here every week. See you next one then. Thank you so much.
All right, bye.
See you guys. Thanks a lot for everything.
Bye.